Hello and welcome to yet another episode of the Fair and Line podcast. Today, we'll be discussing a topic. Personally, I've had problems with this because I didn't know, right? I wasn't aware. So this is another one of those very red pill topics, you could say, if I compare it to the fucking Matrix. It's more about seeing the truth for what life really is. You could say that this is just opinion of one man. Well, yeah, sure, we live in different circumstances, we live different lives, but it comes from experience. This is not just some bullshit I made up. This is not even something I stole, in a way. The things I'll be talking about, in terms of real confidence, they are real methods I am applying in my own life. The way I see myself, the way I view my own life. And it's helped me immensely. Now, obviously, this will not solve all your problems, but I think confidence is one of the most important things in life. Let me be clear. This video is more for the male gender, but I'm pretty sure it can even help some girls. The only problem is, I'm not a girl, so I don't know what it's like. Someday I can maybe do a video to being a better woman, but this is more for the males. The thing is, when you're a confident man, so many things change. So we'll get into it. Don't worry, I'll explain it. So today we'll be talking about the power of real confidence. So let's get on with it. I'll tell you what we'll be talking about in detail. The topics we'll be discussing is what real confidence actually is. And as I said before, I'll be telling you some methods I use, some like mental methods I use. That doesn't mean they have to work for you, but they just make sense for me, for the way my life is. And I think, when I look at some other people, I think maybe it would help them too. But I don't want to be certain in it, right? Like, I hate when people are very certain that they're right about something. That to me is not real confidence. But we'll get into that. I'm not trying to rush ahead. So another thing we'll talk about is how to reach the real confidence. And then we'll talk about the benefits of it. And then, lastly, a conclusion for you to remember. If that's the only thing you take with you, I'll be happy. Honestly. If I can only help one person with this, because I know I have struggled with real confidence, and you really have to keep your ears open, right? Like, I did struggle, but until you really practice it, it's only just talk. No matter how many books about fucking having sex you read, you won't be a master at it because it won't be natural. Right? So the real confidence, it kind of has to be practiced. That's why I'm not really that much of a fan of the fake it till you make it. It does make some sense, and we'll get into it, but it only applies to you over time of actually practicing that. So yeah, obviously you have to have a goal and you have to kind of fake it till you make it, because if you don't see yourself worthy of the goal, then how are you even gonna ever get there? So let's go ahead a bit. So first, let me talk about what real confidence actually is in my perspective. Obviously, this is not some like, okay, this is very subjective, honestly. But what I view as real confidence to me is knowing, not thinking. Now, here's the thing. At the same point, you kind of have to be realistic and you have to have certainty in yourself. So this is very complicated and this is very hard to really grasp. So I'll try to explain to my best abilities. So let's say, for example, you have an opinion. So even though I'm not really into politics, I talked about this on my last episode. It was this one colleague of mine. It was this 40-year-old blue pill retard fucking cuck. And I'm not mad at him. I'm sorry for him. That's the whole thing as well. You shouldn't be narcissistic, right? You shouldn't think that you're better than other people. And we'll get into that too. But first, let me go back to the guy. So he said something about communism being great. And I was like, no, it was not. And then he backed out. He got kind of scared of me, I would say. It was a social dynamic thing. And you know, this guy will always be a fucking employee. And this is another thing. You think that being a boss in a job, like that thing is about skill, that thing is about being good at your work. No, it's all social games. It's all power games. Go read the 48 Laws of Power. I really recommend that because they will clearly show you that it's not about that. It's all about how well you can manipulate. Unfortunately, we live in a world where you kind of have to manipulate. I don't like it either, but it's the way humans are. So what about the knowing, not thinking? So this guy, he said that communism is great. I told him no. And instead of him being certain in himself, he instantly backed out and he said, yeah, it wasn't that great. So why do you even have that opinion? Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have opinions, and you should definitely be open-minded, but you should definitely just not be like this mold, this slime that just transforms in how other people want you to be. That is never a good route in life. You should be certain in yourself and in your own views. So I for one, wouldn't really be great about debating in politics, right? Like, I wouldn't, honestly. But let's say in this presentation, I have this certainty in myself that I'm kind of right about this, but I'm still being realistic about me that I could be wrong. So then what's the knowing not thinking part? What does that mean? I've always had problem with authorities. Now, why is that? Why have I had that problem? I've had 2 bosses that I really, really respected. Well, I still have one of them. But what is this guy doing different? Well, the thing is, he's so humble. He's so masculine. You know, he's not trying to prove to me that he's something more. I can tell that he knows it. Because clearly in the dynamic we are, like, yeah, he's not something more than me. And he doesn't even think that, but he knows it. So let's say you're in a room full of guys. And then you're there thinking to yourself, I am better than every one of them. Now, is that certainty in yourself? Because if you have to prove it to yourself, then you are clearly not certain, because then you will have to even prove it to them. On the other hand, if you know this and you don't have to make yourself think it, that is real certainty in yourself. And that is also being realistic. Because everyone should know that, because we are by nature narcissistic, but you should go kind of against your nature and not think it. I have it quite the opposite way. I deeply inside me, I know I'm better than all the guys in a room. Let's say I'm on a party, and I know I am better than them in my own way, but I don't think that. I go against my nature, and I actually think they are better than me. Now that's kind of weird. That's not confidence. It doesn't seem like it. No, it's quite the opposite way. A real confident man, he doesn't have to think that. That's why I don't respect the authorities, where they try to kind of prove to me and even prove to themselves that they're my boss. Because they're kind of proving to me that they have to make themselves think and make me think and prove to me how much more of a person they are. A real masculine authority, he doesn't have to prove anything to everyone. There's a reason for that old saying, never complain, never explain. So that boss, he actually gets way more done. I respect him way more because he doesn't even have to prove to me that he's more. He just carries this kind of aura, and he's so open-minded, and you can just tell that I maybe tell him, hey, maybe this thing could be done better in the work environment, right? So maybe we can change this. And instead of him having to prove to me how much more he is and how much more he knows, he's like, oh, you really think so? It's interesting. He's open-minded. He's realistic. Because that's the thing. That's the part of being realistic. If you're certain in yourself, then you realize being realistic is being open-minded in a way. So if I'm in that room full of guys where I'm certain in myself, I know in my own way, I am not even, I don't even want to say better than them. I'm just kind of the best version of myself. And it's very rare these days to be the best version of yourself. So that's the reason why I think I am better than them, because I see the things they lack. But I'm internally making myself think that they are better than me. They must be doing something better. And there's always a person, even the biggest fucking loser in life, he's doing something better than you. There's always something. Maybe he's more carefree. He's more careless about stuff. He doesn't care that much. He doesn't stress that much. He's doing that better than you. Maybe he has something, he's more knowledgeable in something at least. So you have to make yourself think that everyone is better than you, but you have to know that that's not the truth. That you are the best version of yourself and you're way better than them. Even though, be realistic and know it's all equal. But you'll never learn anything from anyone if you just have to prove to yourself how much better you are. That's why I don't really like these narcissistic guys. You can't even have a proper conversation with them. The problem is they're not really listening to you. They always are thinking about what they're going to say next. It's like you're not really listening. You're just thinking about another fact about yourself that you're going to say. Well, life is not all about you. If you're certain in yourself, then you socialize in the way that you're really listening to the person and you're thinking, well, maybe I can learn something from this person. And that will make you so much better. If you listen to people and you realize that even from a homeless guy, you can learn something, even if it's like, if it's the most unimportant thing, right? But if you really listen to people, you can always learn something. And if not, you can at least see another perspective. There's a million perspectives, right? So let's say I'm here trying to prove to you that I'm right about this. I'm trying to prove to you how much I'm right. I'm trying to say, well, this is the truth and this is the only truth. No, it's not the way to do it. I'm not trying to tell you that you have to think like this. I'm just saying it's been practical to me, but I'm open-minded about it. I'm being realistic. Well, since I'm confident, I don't even have to try to convince you to think like this. No, I'm just trying to tell you my arguments for why this is good, why I think this is great. But I'm not trying to tell you that this is absolutely perfect and necessary for you to do, right? Like all those people, imagine all those rich guys selling their courses. They're telling you, this is the only course that will make you money. This will make you, and they're like trying to prove to you the best way they can shove it up. If there's a real millionaire that wants to help you make money, and I'm not much of a money guy, but this is just a good example to make because it's very popular nowadays. People are selling you courses. They won't even have to try to prove to you. They will just speak the truth and people will naturally follow because they're certain in themselves, so they don't even have to try to prove anything to anyone, right? I'm not trying to prove and do my best to make people view the way I can. I know if I would have seen this own video 2 years ago, I wouldn't have even believed it because I would not be ready for it. So why try to prove everything to everyone? That is a very bad thing. It's a very miserable thing. Don't ever do that. So with that said, we're getting on to how to reach the real confidence. It's not that easy. And I have some rules for it that I have made up. And it's not only that I made them up for the purpose of this video, I really practice them in real life. They work for me. They make sense for me. I'll explain to you why. Maybe they won't work for you, but it's been really good for me. Like, honestly, I'm very certain that this is very good. This is very good. I really recommend at least trying it. If you're at least trying it, honestly. Some days, you know, that's the way I go about my days. Like like a big thing I'm going to preach in a shit ton of my videos is I try to spend my time that 50% I'm going to live forever and the other 50% that I will die tomorrow, because that's a possibility. It will probably not happen. So you should more focus on the long-term stuff, but it can happen. Honestly, you never know when you can die. Like, you have to really come to the realization that you can die tomorrow. That is completely possible. Anyways, with that said, let's get on to how we can reach real confidence. So I have 3 different rules for real confidence. And lastly, what I have written here is action. That is the most important thing. That is why I don't really believe in just manifesting. Yeah, manifestation is great. Fake it till you make it mindset is in a way great, but it always has to be accompanied by action. I really don't want to use this example because it's kind of overused, but it's a very good example to make, and you all know him. So let's say Andrew Tate, for example. Now, my unpopular opinion about Andrew Tate is that he's actually a double-edged sword, and he himself, even though I don't agree with his life path, from a philosophical standpoint, and I'm a philosopher, so I view it that way, he's actually pretty good. Like, he's, in my opinion, actually pretty good, but he's the double-edged sword, and it's very dangerous. The thing is, what's really dangerous about him, he's very certain in himself, but he proposes things as facts. Now, is that wrong or good? Well, the thing that's wrong about it is that he's trying to put people on a life path that he's living. Well, for him, it's the right path he has chosen. I think he's really living the life he desires, right? It's the right path for him. The problem is that the people that listen to it, they think it's the only path to live. Be as rich as you can, strive for that, no matter what. No matter how many people scam, no matter the fact you own 12 casinos, no matter some kind of fulfillment, be a man, be responsible, don't have no emotions, blah, blah, blah. It's a great path for a lot of people, yeah, sure. Well, not for me personally, so I don't agree with it. But the thing is, it's a great path for him. He likes that path. Well, at least he seems very certain in it. I don't think he's living a life that he doesn't want to live. The problem with that is, there's a lot of men that have potential in other things. Maybe there's a different path for them. But they just listen to him, take it as a fact. It's kind of like that fucking one episode in Breaking Bad where Gus manipulates Walter. You know, he's like, a man provides, even when he's not appreciated, blah, blah, blah. Right? So that's what Andrew Tate is. He's saying it to you like it's a fact, and you take it, but maybe it's not the path for you. So that's why he's a double-edged sword. Another very dangerous thing is, even if you kind of listen to his advice kind of from a little distance, you distance yourself a bit away, you take something, but not everything. You shouldn't just dick ride him and take everything he says as a fact, because we all have different lives, different potentials, right? For example, I don't even care about working out, because that's not the thing for me. For me, it would be slavery. It would be literal slavery. Making these videos for me, philosophizing about stuff, thinking, you know, the love for wisdom, that for me is not slavery. Writing, thinking of a story, that for me is not slavery. Socializing, I love socializing. For me, it is like when a fish swims. A conversation, a good conversation is, for me, amazing. A debate, I love that. But exercising, that can, like this, for others, exercising can be this, yeah. But a lot of people are just kind of forcing themselves to exercise, and it's kind of slavery. I don't even care about the six-pack because honestly, the amount of work we would go into it is not worth it for me. For me, it is literal slavery. And the problem is, Andrew Tate is trying to propose to you that it's a fact that you have to do this. Well, no, obviously. So take it from a distance, but he's right in a lot of things. The whole problem is if you just listen to him, just listen to his advice, but never take the action, you won't even be that successful. You just be bitter. You'll just be bitter about the world. You know, think about, we were actually discussing this with my friend today, that there's two types of guys. There's, well, in a way there's three types of guys, but the third one is just like the people that live in a Disney fantasy and they're actually being manipulated by their girlfriends, or they're just like their toy or whatever. But then there's the two types of guys. There's one guy that he's kind of hating women because he gets no bitches. And there's the other type of guy that he in a way hates women because he knows how they are, but he can still get them. Those are two very different people. Those are two very different people. If you are hating on women, calling them bitches, calling them whores, whatever, but out of resentment that you cannot get them, you're just mad that they don't like you, and you would be the Disney relationship type of guy if you would have a girl actually like you, that is not masculine. And it's the same with the people that literally just listen to Andrew Tate. They take all his opinions as facts. They have no real practice in them. They have no real action going for them. They don't ever take the action, and they're just mad at everyone. No, bro, you cannot just be mad at everyone. You should be respectful and sorry. I actually have this guy. He's a friend. He's not even a friend. He's not even a friend. And he's told this one girl that I've done something with, like, and I think she really likes me, to be honest. I don't even think, I know, I see through her bullshit, right? Like, yeah. And then I know this guy is obsessed with her, but she is still choosing me. I'm not mad at the guy, right? I'm not angry with him. Like him telling her that he's jealous of me, him telling her that he loves her, right? Now, the bitter Andrew Tate approach would be a non-respectful fuck that guy. No, you have to know you are better than him, but think he's better and feel sorry for him. And that's another thing. When there are these girls who go around, they sleep around, they don't really think about life, I see the path they're heading into. I know a lot of women like this that are careless. They have no responsibility for anything. They don't have this traditional femininity. They have this, what feminism has caused. And I know in the long term, they'll be miserable because I'm seeing this. I know 30-year-olds that are single and they're miserable. They hate life, literally. And I am not resentful of them. I do not hate them. These young girls that are heading down this path. In fact, I'm sorry for them. I am quite sorry for them because they've never had the great parent figure. They've been told in today's society they can just do whatever and have no responsibility for it. But unfortunately, we cannot go past our nature. A guy that's not a complete cuck will not want to marry a girl that's got 100 bodies. Yeah, great. Then some fucking cuck that will be obsessed with her will marry her, but that's not a real marriage, honestly, and that's not a real date scenario because he's going to be obsessed with her and she won't even respect him. She won't even love him. So that's a sad reality we're heading down. And I'm sorry for speaking the truth. Well, is it the truth? That's another thing. What is the truth, right? Well, I have evidence in my life from what I've seen that it does make sense, but that's just my life, so it doesn't really have to be the truth. But a lot of people would agree, and the only people that would not agree is the people that haven't studied enough. And that's another thing. It's this. We go back to the communism example with my colleague. So look how quickly he changed his opinion. That just shows he doesn't even know much about it. If he would have studied and really gone through everything and then still thought that it's a good thing that communism in this way is right, like, that's the thing. If you're certain in some opinion, you realize even the negatives of it. Like, if I would just say that Andrew Tate is the best, my presentations are the best, then you know I am wrong. Certainty that you are 100% right and not even allowing any other thing to be the truth is usually fucking copium. It's honestly copium. A huge thing about confidence is literally just acceptance. It's just being realistic. Like, you have your own body, you have your own potential. So let's get into our first rule, finally, enough yapping. Action is very important, but let's get into the 9 out of 10 rule. So what does that mean? This one is for the potential, and you shouldn't look at yourself as what you have done thus far. That is a very bad and dangerous thing to do. You should think of yourself as potential, and if you live your days like it, if you take the action, this all has to be accompanied by action. It has to be. First of all, you have to really think it, which is an action in itself. You cannot just listen to me say this, you should really practice it. And then you have to act upon it. You have a route in life that you want. You first have to have a plan, that's very important. And let's say the 9 out of 10 rule. So what is it? I view myself as a 9 out of 10. Because I know my days, and I ignore everything that has happened so far because I see it as a lesson. First of all, the past is already gone, I cannot change it. And second of all, even if I could, would I? Because if I wouldn't be here. You have to learn some lessons. Like lessons, they have to be learned by you experiencing things, not by you listening to a guy talking about it. That's why I'm saying this won't solve your problem with confidence. You have to really practice it. So the 9 out of 10 rule is me making myself believe that I'm a 9 out of 10. And a big problem nowadays, when people say something out of 10, they always go by looks, and this is so fucking gay. Do you realize that you're just a mind in a body? It's just a vessel. You were born in a vessel with a potential, but with a mind, with a huge potential that's even more important than just this body you're in. Like a guy that's a professional fucking League of Legends player, he doesn't have to even care about a body because that is his passion, right? A guy that's a tennis player, his potential is in tennis, so he'll naturally have a better body, but his potential doesn't even have to be in fucking reading books or whatever. You should be overall like knowledgeable about everything, but the 9 out of 10 rule is very important. When people ask you how much would you rate yourself out of 10, they always go by looks, and that is not the way this applies. If I would objectively rate myself out of looks, I'd say like a 7.5. But I would say I view myself as a 9 out of 10, but this is not just going by looks, this is going by everything. That is because I have accompanied it by the action, and I do my days like this, and I really think I'm my best opinion, living my days the best I can be, and that's how I believe it. The reason it's 9 and not 10 out of 10 is because 10 out of 10 is not the truth. That is the fake it till you make it mindset. That is the making yourself believe the shit. That's why the girls in podcast, they always say they view themselves as 10 out of 10, and you just know they're lying. First of all, because they're women, but second of all, because nobody is a 10 out of 10, and you should never ever even view yourself as a 10 out of 10, because then you won't even try to improve. That's why you should always view yourself as a 9 out of 10, because you realize you have this hunt for that one more point to be a 10 out of 10, and you're in an endless chase, and you'll endlessly get better and better and better. You should always desire to go for that 10, but know that it's kind of not realistic. And yeah, of course you're perfect the way you are, but you could always be better. Always strive for it. And that's another thing, is the 90% rule. In my opinion, spending 90% of my time the best I can. Why not 100%? Well, there was this one podcast or talk show where some guy said, what percentage of your potential are you okay staying at? It's a great question to ask yourself. You won't even be able to cope to yourself and think to yourself. I don't really think it. I know it, and I'm a 9 out of 10, right? But you won't even be able to think that and be certain that you're a 9 out of 10 if you don't act like it and you jerk off in your room all day. But why the 90% rule? Why am I not going at 100% of my potential? So let's say that even at 100% of my potential, I would still be a 9 out of 10. It's a trap. It's a trap. And that is what they call the toxic masculinity. And that is my problem. And I call it the toxic productivity. That is what fucking Alex Hormozy is causing you to do. And it's not a good mindset to have. It's not good in the long term. It will definitely stress you. I am okay at staying at 90% of my potential, and that's very subjective because you cannot see what's productive, right? Like if I go visit my mom, like how do you say that it's not productive, right? Like that is productive in my honest view, because one day she'll not be here. She's the one that gave me life, so that to me is productive. But let's say hypothetically that it wouldn't be, well then it's fine, because I'm only allowing myself 90%, so there's 10% I'm allowing myself to do non-productive, so I won't have to stress. Let's now imagine I sleep like 10 hours a day, sometimes even 11. I sleep a lot. And let's imagine I would put this requirement upon myself that I need to stay at 100%. I would constantly be in this tension. I would constantly be stressed about whether I'm doing something the best I can. And that is, in the grand scheme, counterproductive, because if you're always thinking about, well, I'm actually doing the best thing now, sometimes it's just a good thing to lay back and let it go. Life is not running away. You should be okay at doing the best you can. You should try your best. That's why I said in my last video about drugs, I was actually the one before my last video about drugs, that the thing that people do wrong about drugs, they suddenly try to change from day to day and say they stop. I'm always gonna stop smoking. That's a bad mindset to have. You should just try your best. Trying your best, in my opinion, is the best you can do. And okay, yeah, sure, you really have to try your best though. It really has to be your best. It really has to be the 90%. I could have gone to fucking jerk off. It's already late at night. I spent a nice day with my friend. We were on the bike together. We were cycling, whatever, right? And I could go to bed, but I know that I have to do this 90%, so I made myself do this presentation. I kind of, in a way, no, I didn't really force myself. I'm okay with doing it. To me, it's not really forcing. But if I would be at 100%, I wouldn't even want to go out with that friend, right? I wouldn't even want to go cycling and chill and whatever, because I would be stressed about it. I have to do work. I have to write my book. I have to work on my YouTube channel. I have to study for school, blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, sometimes it's just good to lay back a little because you'll enjoy life more. So it's okay to give yourself that 10% off. Now, a third rule is the inner shadow. In relationships, this is actually a big problem, is thinking two things. And they're very opposite from each other. It's first of all being naive and thinking your partner is perfect. And second of all, trying to change your partner. Seeing the negatives, you actually do see them, but you try to make himself change. Now, I'm not saying that people cannot change when they really try. Women, they're really good at it, even though sometimes they're just pretending and they're not really changed. It's like those OnlyFans models that say they've now gone Christian. You know, it's not really the truth. But the thing with the inner shadow rule is just realizing and accepting all people have flaws. I have my own flaws. I'm a selfish person. I'm narcissistic. But instead of trying to change it, instead of hating myself for it, I just accept it, kind of. It's the same with other people. In today's day and age, a very popular opinion in the manosphere is that you want a virgin, and so do I, honestly. But then I kind of realized that everything has a negative to it, and there's a lot of women that kind of have been ran through. And I think a big problem of guys is not really accepting the way they are, and they're kind of seeing themselves. They're not really seeing the bigger picture. Right? You're not really seeing the bigger picture. It's really tough for me to articulate it. I'll maybe talk about it in a different video, because it's very difficult. But just to put it in short, imagine you have your mother, right? And she's a loving mother. She does everything for you. Does she have flaws? Obviously, everyone has. Does that mean you should want a different mom? No. Does that mean she is the perfect mom? No. She has her inner shadow. But should you accept her and love her? Yes. Absolutely, because she is your mother. It's my biggest problem in relationships, is desperately trying to force people to change or being stressed about how they are. I just accept that this girl is this way, and then I think, do I want her? Do I not? Well, there'll be a lot of other girls that will be some other ways. I'll always have a problem with them, so I'm kind of struggling about it. I don't know, but I'm getting way further than if I would be idolizing her, or on the other hand, trying to desperately change her, because both are destructive. If you idolize a person, he'll manipulate you, and if you desperately try to change a person and think you're this messiah and put all your energy, then you'll be drained. You'll be drained, because if they don't want to change themselves, it won't change. It's like a fitness trainer. Imagine a fitness trainer trying to train a guy desperately into some potential he has, and he sees it, but the guy never wants to try. He never wants to actually do the lifting. He never wants to take the action. He doesn't view himself as a 9 out of 10. He doesn't fucking do the 90% rule, 90% of his time spending productive. He has this short-term motivation of being 100% motivated, but that burns out. Like, a 90% rule is very great for not burning out, because if you're not really forcing yourself to do something, then you'll be fine with it in the long term. So always think of the long term, honestly. Always think of the long term when it comes to this shit. That's very important. Next up, benefits of real confidence. What does it actually give me? Now, this is Another one where it's just the things I, for myself, experience. But for me personally, a big one is social life. As soon as I'm more confident, people, they just kind of like me more, because people like in themselves what they don't like. And nowadays a lot of people are not confident because we're shoved with social media and shit like that. A lot of people, they have these short-term motivation periods where they're 100% invested into something, but they burn out. So to me personally, and I'm not even shy about going up to people, talking to people, because I have this real confidence. And this is not confidence thinking that I'm better than them. Once again, this is confidence knowing that I'm just the best I can. I accept myself perfectly, and I'm okay with talking to people. And if they do some manipulation, then, well, that's them. I don't have to do that. I don't have to be on the same wave with them. Then another big one for me is mental health. If, like, I always wanted to change everything about myself, desperately trying to change everything, the things that I couldn't even change myself. I wouldn't really accept myself. And now that I have this real confidence, but not just the fake confidence, but the real confidence, where I can genuinely say that I'm a 9 out of 10 and really mean it, like there's no crack in my voice, this is 100% serious, then it's so much better. So much better. No need for validation is another big one. It's a trap. Validation is a trap, and that's why I'm quite sorry for a lot of females, because you can just see they're kind of insecure because they always need other people to validate them, and they're not really certain in themselves. It's very sad. Unfortunately, it's in the female nature, and unfortunately, a lot of males are becoming more feminine. That's why they need the validation from other people. You should never really need your validation if you're really sure in yourself. And the last point I'd like to add for real confidence is, I've written here, nothing changes. So what does that really mean? What do you mean nothing changes? Well, in a way, the way I view life is that you have your own potential and you know it. You know what you should do. Your only step is acting upon it and really believing yourself. And if you, like, it's all equal to each other. So once you start acting upon it, you'll start believing in yourself more. And once you start believing in yourself more and taking yourself seriously, you'll start acting upon it even more. So in a way, nothing changes because you're just finally fulfilling your potential. You've let go of these distractions and you really live life how it should be. So that to me is nothing changes, because you're just literally just acting on your dreams. That is the only thing. You're just doing what you always wanted to do, but you're finally taking the steps and being confident in yourself. And when you take the steps, you will be even more confident. And when you are even more confident, you'll take even more steps and you'll realize what is enough. So in conclusion, for you to remember from this presentation, no, don't think. You don't have to prove to yourself anything. You should just really know it. And if you cannot know it, then you have to act upon it. You have to kind of make yourself think it, and then you'll know it. I don't really believe in fake confidence. I don't believe in the people that say they're a 10 out of 10. I think they're forcing themselves to think. I think a big thing is accepting that you'll never be perfect, but you should be the best version of yourself that you can be. That's why saying you're a 9 out of 10 is perfect for me. If you cannot know, then act. You have to change it. If you cannot think, like if you cannot genuinely say and know that you're a 9 out of 10, like I don't think it, I know it, you should act. And treat your days as they are. Treat your days like it's your life. Don't treat your life like your past 20, 30, 40, 50 years. No, today is your life. Today, I can change today, and that is my life. Today is the second best day of my life. Tomorrow is the best day of my life. I will do the best I can, and I can only even do even better tomorrow. Growth comes with time. So confidence, to me, is acceptance, and confidence is also respect. You respect other people, you try to listen to other people, you accept that they all have their flaws, but you still respect them, you don't resent them, and you're sorry for them. You try to understand them, you emphasize with them more, you're more empathetic, I don't know if that's the word to use, but you're more empathetic, right? You realize that people, they do have things for their own motivations, and people are, in a way, well, are they evil? I think kind of in a way all people are evil, but when I understand their motivations, I realize, well, they're just the same as me. Like once I have really become confident and accepted how people are, then I just really see that we're all animals and we're all alike. Like I can understand a person, why he would act under such a certain situation, right? I'm not resentful at the guy being mad at me, talking about all this and saying this is all cope, this is all bullshit, because I understand why he would think that in this situation. Like he's never really done any action. He's all in his room jerking off, doing stupid shit. He's always dreamt of talking to that one girl, but he's never really acted upon it. He's always living in his fantasies. So obviously he's going to resent me and not think this is true. You really have to take the actions. And another big part of taking the actions is be willing to fail. Because there's no such thing as failing when you think about it. Because the biggest failure in life is not taking action. That's honestly, the biggest failure is not taking action. So that's all I'm going to say. Love you. Thank you for listening.